Anything she said.
She said, we are live on YouTube.
Good. Morning.
How are y'all?
Good.
Better not speak up. You're live on YouTube.
Okay. Hey, Dale, how are you? Good. Now, like the last meeting, I'm pretty safe.
Yeah, that one was not live anywhere except in the courtroom. But we have done a lot of work since. The election's going, I think.
Yeah, I voted
Tanner, you voted today?
yesterday, I believe. One of them
Was there a line when you were there?
Yes. Yeah.
I've noticed just looking out the window, it tends to be lines in the morning and by mid to afternoon.
Shelley
no
went at
lines.
5 or a little before 5, yesterday at 4:30, and she didn't get out of there until 5:15. She goes, it takes a while.
Betty
Yes.
Ann went by and voted Tuesday early, and she said then it had to wait. And I came the next day, and I couldn't get in the morning, so I came back after lunch, and about the same deal as I voted yesterday morning. So, and I still waited. There were about 5 people ahead of me and 4 or 5 behind me, I guess.
They said some places in Austin, somewhere around Austin yesterday, was a 6-hour wait.
Did y'all see where in Llano County on their ballots? They didn't have the party's name, Republican, Democrat, or Independent. It wasn't on the ballots. Just the name of the candidate.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know what
How does that work?
I don't know.
Well, when did they start the deal that you had to be dressed appropriately? For the vote?
I hadn't,
That's been in effect a good while.
And
You can't wear any kind of
campaigns.
campaign like vote Republican, vote Democrat. You can't have any of that, and you gotta have your shoes on. But now they say you're gonna have to take this mask off so they can identify you.
Because that, a lot of them yesterday when I was in there, they had them off, so that were voting. But no, it's one of those deals that, it's gotten crazy.
What do you think of the new voting machines? I haven't tried it.
Oh, good, nothing to it. I mean, as far as running a ballot, it checks it off that you voted, everything else by hand when you sit down and fill in the dots.
Yeah.
No big deal.
But they can only allow so many people in there at a time because of COVID restrictions or something like that.
Well, they've got it marked off, you know, with tape and stuff, and the ladies that are giving the ballots, I thought that was pretty interesting, the ballots, she gives the ballots out, and of course, she said that put 4 in front of me and said, you have your choice. She said, I can't hand you one, it's against it. So I had to pick my own ballot, you know, out of it. But I thought that was pretty good too.
Yeah, and the ballots are complicated because depending on which school district somebody's in, there's like 13 different.
And not only that, turning them over.
Yeah.
You know, make sure there's stuff on the back to vote too, so. So be it. Times have
You know,
changed.
you had people complain because they didn't like the electronic, using the dial and all that. And now you're gonna have people complain that don't like the paper part of it. So I don't know if you'll ever win.
You won't.
Well, I mean, there is a certain group of people that aren't happy unless they're complaining. And so you always have to have something out there for them.
It's complicated anymore.
But I'm glad they added the extra week, the 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see people turn out too, though. Of course, the presidential year, that's always that way.
Yeah. Sonia may be online so we can hear, but what I heard was that we had more people vote by 11 o'clock on Tuesday, the first day, than we had the whole first day of the last presidential.
Yes, that is correct. We had 169 vote the first day, and we had 157 vote yesterday. Do you guys see us up on the big screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you met Jackie?
No.
Jackie, these are the commissioners, Robert Hall. There's Mike Wright, he's Commissioner Precinct 1, Robert Hall's Commissioner Precinct 3.
Don't tell them when it's my time to wave.
Right.
Mike Wright, it's your time to wait. Yeah.
Jason is probably somewhere over in this area where my mouse is, and he's Commissioner Precinct 4, and is Jed in
Yeah,
there?
Jason and Jed are off the camera.
There's Jason.
There we go.
Jed is probably over here at this table. He's Precinct 2. Here for a little bit, but starting Monday, she'll be here.
When does she start, Judge? Or
Monday.
Monday?
Yeah, this is, Jackie works remotely on Thursday, and so she is not, yeah, so she was able to, I asked her to try and squeeze in a few hours this morning to learn this, because in about 2 weeks, we're going to have another one of these, and we're starting dealing with the individual wind projects, and that's going to be liable to be a lot more community interest. So this is a really good way to debug the technology and everything.
Okay.
I left my cell phone in my truck, so if somebody can sort of
58,
nudge me when it's 9 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going
2
to.
minutes when I
I'm gonna start the biz recording, Sonia.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we've done that. Sonia, in the course of starting the biz recording, I have apparently changed the display on the screen. If you can see what's being projected, coach me back through what I need to do to get back to where I was.
If you will look in the upper right-hand corner of your computer screen, you should see the Zoom view. It's a little picture. It'll be a little picture of probably you or me.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, there should be something in the bottom right corner of that picture that will expand that screen.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So that's got our projector back. Okay. It's 9 o'clock. Call the Commissioners Court special meeting, Mills County Commissioners Court into session. This is Thursday, October 15th, 2020. It's 9 a.m. and we have present in person all members of the court, Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Guerin, Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Williams, and myself, the county judge. With that, we are in session. We will recess for a public hearing. And following a public hearing, we will reconvene the meeting and finish the items on the agenda. Excuse me. So with that, let me ask for a motion to recess Commissioners Court for the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, Commissioners Court is in recess. A public hearing is in session. Just to give a little time, and let me go over the rules for a public hearing. These rules are published in the Public Information Center of the county website. And these rules were created to avoid the potential spread or minimize the potential spread of infectious disease in Mills County. The public hearing is open to the public in the Mills County courtroom, subject to the usual screening procedures and masks that we require for all the court meetings in the Mills County Courthouse. We have limited seating. I believe we can seat somewhere between 8 and 12 in this room. Then we also have this available, and it is live streamed to YouTube for people to observe, for people to participate. There is a dial-in number and a Zoom login that will be provided with advance requests to the county judge's office. And I can tell you that the time I came up here, we had nobody. Well, actually, I say that too quickly. We had representatives from Coldstream Energy request that. That's the sponsor of the Blue Bonnet Wind Project.
So if somebody wanted
in a public hearing, the public may participate. There's some rules that I'm going to go through briefly just for practice. I don't believe we'll encounter them today. There are public speaker forms in the back of the room. They're also available through the judge's office or the clerk's office that have to be returned in advance of the meeting. If more than 6 people sign up to speak on either side of an issue, they will be encouraged to select spokespersons. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes apiece. All speakers must register in advance, whether it's Zoom, in person, or by phone. And those are the rules. Now, the purpose of the public hearing was for the Commissioners Court to obtain input from the public prior to acting on guidelines for the guidelines and criteria for granting tax abatement in reinvestment zones created in the jurisdiction of Mills County. The court may listen to the comments of the public. We can respond to questions if we can give them simple answers, but it's not to engage in a discussion or take any action. Once we have completed the public hearing, we will adjourn back into, in this case, a meeting of Commissioners Court where action and further discussion is appropriate and can be taken. In future situations, the Commissioners Court meeting may or may not immediately follow the public hearing. So that's what we are about today. If this was a public hearing on a different type of matter, for instance, a reinvestment zone, we would ask the sponsor or the people requesting it to make a brief presentation on what their proposal was about their project. That's not the case here. We're looking at criteria and guidelines. So let me briefly present those to the court and to the public. For the members of the court, you've seen this before. It is posted on the county website under the public information section. This is something that is required by Section 312 of the Texas Tax Code. It's something the county must do periodically and may revise when they choose more frequently. And that a county must have criteria in place before it can create a reinvestment zone, and both must be in place before you can grant a tax abatement. At a very high level, the guidelines and criteria are unchanged from what has been in effect in Mills County since approximately 2007, with some exceptions that I'm going to touch on. I'd tell you that the largest single exception is these guidelines make the reinvestment zone more or less project specific rather than saying the whole county is a reinvestment zone. There's a reason for that, but it requires then a separate hearing to establish a reinvestment zone for each project as it comes in. But the benefit of that to the county is that you can then make your your criteria, your decisions on that project and its abatement specific to that project and that reinvestment zone, rather than having to make everything in the county the same. That's one big difference. The others I'd say are more minor, but they're very much for the benefit of the county. There's a provision to include an application fee of $1,000 that is now permitted by the tax code that wasn't back in 2007 when we started this. And there's the provision that we can require the applicant to cover the cost of the county in processing an application, whether it's legal and professional expenses or newspaper advertising. Those are generally the two we run into. And other than that, I would represent to you that it's effectively the same agreement. So with that background for the benefit of the public, let me throw this open to public comment. If there is no public comment physically present, I see Mr. Pritchard from Coldstream Energy on Zoom. You're shaking your head. You have nothing to say? Okay. Let me see. Sonia may have. I'm sorry. I was asking if you had any public comment you would like to make.
I just was going to correct. I'm with Swift Current Energy.
Swift Current. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate y'all having the meeting today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, let's see. We opened our public hearing at 9:05. It is now, according to the computer clock, 9:08. And one last call for any public input on this. In which case, there being none, I will close the public hearing, and we are reconvening Mills County Commissioners Court. If we go back to our agenda, that takes us to item 4, which now puts the guidelines and criteria back in the court's lap to consider and act on the adoption, which we are legally able to do now that we have held a public hearing. Is there any discussion at the court level, or I'd entertain a motion?
I'd like to ask one question, Judge, if you don't mind.
Sure.
If we change this into the reinvestment zone, are we allowed to change what we allow for abatement? In other words, can we take we give 100% abatement to someone right now?
Yeah.
Are we allowed? I know Jason was concerned a few years ago about taking the road and bridge fund out of it. I brought up about taking the INS out of that abatement. And how does that work? Can we decide that each time a project comes available in one of the investment?
That is the advantage of doing it this way. We can abate none, some, or up to 100%. So, but you can't, everything that we have granted so far is granted.
Correct.
This change only affects going forward.
Correct. I understand
Commissioner Wright,
That's all the
if you
question I
could
have.
please.
Are there any other questions?
Oh, sorry.
Is there a motion?
Judge, I believe that we accept these guidelines and criteria as presented on the printed for.
You're right. Can you have Commissioner Guerin pull his microphone closer?
I'll try.
How's that?
That's better.
Okay.
Would you restate your motion?
I move we accept these guidelines and criteria for granting tax abatement in the reinvestment zones in the jurisdiction of Mills County.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Williams. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Now, item 5 on the agenda, it's acting on disposal of various pieces of county equipment. We have listed for salvage a office chair, a computer monitor, and desktop speakers. I believe that's all in the county clerk's office. And we have, let's deal with these things separately. Let's deal with the salvage. So any discussion on the salvage designation from the clerk's office? Is there a motion?
I move we declare those individual pieces as salvage as disposed of.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have declared 3 items from the clerk's office as salvage. Now, 5B is to declare as surplus some precinct 4 equipment to be sold at auction. A 1986 GMC dump truck and a 91 International Harvester dump truck. Is there any discussion on those items?
Just a little discussion on those. The 86 GMC dump truck, it runs fine. It's kind of like what Mike has. It's a little bitty dump truck. It's very old, but it runs and starts. It's just we haven't used it in about 2 years. We used it one time in 2 years, and so we end up using the bigger dump trucks. And so my thought was, if it's just sitting there, let's sell it and use the money for something that we can use. So same kind of process Mike had on that. Was it 85, Mike? What you were talking about? 85. So, and then the International dump truck, we're fixing to have some major issues on it, so I would prefer to get rid of it before.
Spend a lot of money on maintenance, don't you, Jason?
Well, that would be a lot of money for what it's worth, so.
Let's leave you with 2 trucks.
Still leave
The
me
belly
with the
dump
truck.
and- yeah.
You leave
Okay.
me with the belly dump and the other dump truck, so I'll still leave it.
Okay, is there a motion to declare as surplus the 2 dump trucks listed in the agenda?
I'll make a motion, we declare precinct 4 surplus for these 2 dump trucks, the 86 and the 91, be sold at auction. Whenever Jason sets it up.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Okay, a second from Commissioner Guerin. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Number 6, discuss maintenance issues on the rock crusher tractor.
Okay, so that's gonna be back to me. I think Robert knows about this. Mike, I'm pretty sure you know about it, and Jed, actually Jed Rohans brought it to our attention. Those wheels where the lug nuts go in, they're cracked all the way around them, like they're breaking out where the lug nut fastens the wheel to the hub. When we had that blowout, or Jed had it back right after he got the rock crusher. It's when we noticed it. They seemed to look like they were getting worse. So Jed took it to Sides that's out here, and Sides looked at it and to see if we could fix it. After Sides looked at it, he thought it was just superficial and it's just paint, and that the cracks aren't going through the metal itself. So they recommended that we clean the paint off and watch the cracks and see if it got any worse and go ahead and use it. So I with the help of my guys, we took it to Robert and told Robert, they're saying go ahead and use it and see if it changes anything. Or Robert has it. I don't know if he's
We haven't used it yet.
got a chance to use it. But anyway,
Going
in
through
the
like-
meantime, I went and saw Kirby Moore out at Storm. Kirby Moore said, and when I started telling him the situation, he goes, oh, well, we know this has happened before. They have a plate that they make for that they bolt on there, and then you weld it up. And so the company knows that there's a problem. It's the weight of the machine on those wheels. Maybe Robert can explain a little better than I can, and so I went ahead and had Kirby order these plates. Do not know how much they are. Mike, is Mike, that his name?
Yeah.
Kirby's son?
Mike's good.
Mike said he thought they were around less than $200 a piece. We have it in the, in our budget for that, and I said, but it would be a precautionary type thing. I don't know how much a wheel would cost. Robert might have a better idea on what a wheel would cost on a big tractor like that, and he's, what, 2,000?
I would think.
Something like that, so, but if
With
those-
Caterpillar, even getting one would be a tough situation.
So spending a couple $100 on a preventative
wheel.
versus
on
losing,
preventative, yes.
versus replacing a wheel.
And somebody getting hurt when that thing comes apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared. It comes apart.
Well, you gave it back to precinct three, so yeah,
Precinct 3.
to test it. Yeah.
And we're not gonna use it till we get the plates put on.
But
Okay.
the plates have been ordered, Mike and the more service center has got to get those. But I wanted to put that on there so everybody knew what was going on with that. And I think Mike still has blades. New teeth.
Teeth, yes.
He still has teeth.
Yes.
Couple of boxes of them out there.
So
I leave them outside.
I didn't check it.
Access.
I didn't check it, and I don't know.
We're
if
gonna definitely have to put some teeth on it.
Okay.
Nothing unusual.
But I know we do have, I know the guy called me the other day, wanted to know if we needed more, and I told him, no, we didn't need any more right now, so.
That was a good deal when you did that too, ordering those, and I just left them outside on the shop where
They're right there.
everybody has access when they.
I know it was a lot of money up front, but we got them, and, so, anyway, that's it, unless somebody has any questions, that's all I wanted to report on
It's
that.
just a discussion.
Okay.
I'd be afraid if we put more rims on it, it'd just be the same thing in a few years. We've all been reading.
It was amazing, I didn't even get all the story out of what was going on, and Paul and Kirby already knew everything, so it's not like it's happened, they knew that it's happened before, is what I'm saying, so.
What happened before on our equipment
No,
or other
on our
equipment?
on previous sales that they've had.
Okay.
I know when I was using it, they had it for nearly 6 weeks. I wonder why they didn't, maybe they did consider it.
I don't know, but I talked to Commissioner Jamie Smart, and Jamie Smart is the commissioner next to you over there in Lomita, and he's like, that's good information, because they just bought one, exact same tractor and everything, so. I told you not to watch those wheels.
Well, how long we've had that? It's all the way 10 years?
I don't think we had it in here.
No, we haven't had teeth.
I was thinking 7, 8 years, so that's been.
Did we have it before you come in this last time?
Yes.
Well, we got that.
After you come in? Yeah. So we didn't have it when Keith Harper was here.
I think the thing with that tractor is it's designed to have good wheels on it. Those big ones won't travel the rock. And that crusher weighs 10,500.
I think it needs duals on it.
And that's just too much weight for that application.
I think Robert's correct, it needs duals on it. But you're talking a lot of, it's gonna be hard to move it when you start putting duals and stuff on it.
One of the selling points to that when we bought it too was that we didn't have to load it on the trailer to drive it down the road. But what people don't realize, like you're saying, that thing has so much weight on the back that it's a lot, it hits anything.
It breaks them cords down
Yeah,
inside
it's
the tires, because it's too much
Because I
weight.
warned my guys, like, don't put it in road gear, slow it down.
Barry was sitting on it when that tire blew out. And he said it hit the ground faster than you could think.
Yeah. I can imagine.
He said, now he's driving very fast.
Well, I think Randy was driving it last time when he went out on you on the highway.
Zephyr up on 218. Yeah, gets a little western.
Okay.
That's it, Dennis.
Thank you. Okay, moving ahead, number 7, the court's been asked to acknowledge that the county clerk, Sonia Scott, has loaned or has brought a personal computer monitor to use as a second monitor in the clerk's office, and asked the court to acknowledge that.
Does she need a monitor? If she needs one later, do we have in the budget where she can buy one too?
We probably have it in the budget. She has a monitor. This is one of those personal choice things. She wants a second monitor, and Sonia free to speak up so she can have documents on one screen, court documents, say, as in the district clerk role, for instance, and the Zoom court hearing in Brownwood on the other screen, and be able to refer back and forth.
Well,
So
it's just an issue with the county when we have in our handbook that employees are not to use personal property. And we seem like there's an issue on some stuff missing. So to me, if she needs a monitor, she ought to be able to buy one for her office. And, you know, instead of buying one from her home.
So part of this was what could get done that red hot day.
Exactly. This was something that I had a monitor. I could install it that day and not wait for shipping. With people working from home, there has been a delay in getting computer equipment. And so it was something that would move things along faster. If the court would like for me to order one, I'll be glad to, or doesn't want to accept that this is my personal monitor being used, I can order one, but I'd like permission to use my personal monitor until the other one comes in.
I think that's reasonable. Why don't you order one, and maybe it can go into one of our various technology fund accounts as far as where the money comes from. And I don't have any problem with her. It takes 10 days sometimes or more to get stuff, allowing the continued use of the personal monitor till it comes in.
Sometimes parts now taking 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Okay, well,
I can't hear whatever.
however long it takes.
Well, I just don't want her to have to use her own personal stuff. That's what I'm getting at, is that she needs one, she needs to order it, and I don't have a problem with her using it.
Until it gets here.
Until it gets here, or whatever.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm trying to think through what we need to do. She doesn't need court authorization. I mean, if it's in the budget to order another monitor, I think I would move to acknowledge the clerk's use of her personal Samsung monitor until such time as a county monitor can be obtained.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're done on that. Consider an act on sharing and transfer of Joey Knoll from the treasurer's office to the county district clerk's office. I think what's going on here is, first of all, everybody in the courthouse is trying to help out as we're short staffed in a couple of departments. A couple of people are still interviewing, and we have this election going on across the street. And I think it's very laudable that employees are being shared. There's sometime in the past, the commissioner's court dictated, and I'm not sure that's the correct word, but established a policy that transfers between department required court approval. And that was driven by, I guess, some disagreement over an employee transfer. So my proposal, and I'll make it in the form of a motion, is that the court approval only be required if the lending and receiving elected officials do not both agree to the transfer.
Do they, all the elected officials, are they going to appear before the court and give their permission?
No, they will sign, there's a sheet you fill out when you do personnel stuff. So as long as they both sign the personnel transfer sheet, there you go. That shows they agree with it.
If agreement between those elected officials, I have no problem with it. But like I said, we did get into a situation where
there was,
it was very,
and that's appropriate. The commissioner's court is the place to resolve those sort of disputes. But where there's no dispute between the parties that are involved, the elected officials that are involved, we don't need to be taking.
Okay, on the sharing of any employee, who pays it? Which department pays it?
Well, I think
that's going to be a part-time deal.
Yeah, I think they would.
Well, don't that interfere with the retirements if you're a part-time employee in this department?
Longevity pay?
Excuse me?
Longevity pay if we're part-time?
They're still a full-time Hills County employee. And part-time people are always included on TCDRS. The only ones that's not included on retirement is temporary employees.
She's still considered a full-time.
I mean, Tom and I share our persons
Yes.
always. This time, what I did from when we were sharing was divided by 3. That's kind of what we did.
So the cost is still there. It's just allocated to different department budgets.
Okay, how does that work in bonding on 2 different, been bonded in, through the clerk's office and through your office? Like one individual?
I mean, I guess that's something for the lawyer. I don't know anything about bonding, know who we're supposed to bond on. She is
That's
bonded.
all I know. That's what I'm asking.
She's bonded in both places.
In both places.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. You know, how does that work? Been bonded in both places?
She
We have-
is bonded in both places. Now, the people that bonded her didn't say anything about that being a problem.
I just wondered too. I have no idea. Couldn't ask.
Mike, can you pull your microphone a little closer, please?
Sure, sorry.
Thank you.
Or stood up closer to it. Is that what you're saying?
Hey, one or both.
Okay, let me try and wrap this up. I move that transfer of employees between departments be authorized without Commissioners Court approval, provided that the elected officials on both ends of the transfer sign the transfer agreement, and the transfer agreement address the cost sharing.
Do we have to have a motion, Judge, on that situation?
Well, I wouldn't think so, Mike, Commissioner Wright, but you raised the issue
Yes.
in the clerk's office
Yes.
last week.
Well, I thought.
And so I'm trying to address the issue you raised.
Yes, that is correct. I knew prior to that, there was a problem.
Right.
But if there's not a problem, if there's agreement between the 2 elected officials and they sign the form to do it, so be it. That's their decision, is it not?
That would be I'm trying to clean up the point you raised about, yes, the Commissioner's Court said transfers required Commissioner's Court
That is
approval.
correct.
And in that time, at the time the court did that, it did not address, let's call them consensual transfers.
Sure.
And I'm trying to clean that up.
Okay.
But
If
I
there's
think-
consensual in your motion, then
yeah,
when we put, yes,
yes.
as long as that's included in this.
Okay.
motion,
Let me amend my motion to be clear that Commissioner's Court approval is not included on the consensual transfers of employees between departments.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Judge Smith, was that Jed that did the second?
Yes, Commissioner Guerin seconded.
Thank you.
Okay, before we adjourn, are there any commissioner reports you want to mention? Mr. White?
I don't have any, Judge.
Mr. Guerin? Mr.
The
Hall?
only one I have, and I was gonna bring it up in the next Commissioners Court meeting, but if you want to speak
Yeah.
about it now, is this, these people coming in here cutting up this land. We are supposed to, if they put a road in and subdivide it, we are supposed to approve that, right?
Mills County has a subdivision ordinance
I was not
approved
aware of it.
in 1985. Well, I agree.
I was not aware of it.
You probably
I
were in
went
high
by
school.
Gerald's.
Yeah.
No, I was out of high school by a good deal. Anyway, it was brought up. This individual is wondering why we're not standing by that. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to cut up some land. It's half in Hamilton County, half in Mills County. And now he says, this is what he's saying, that you told him he would have to bring that before court. Which, after I talked to Gerald, I found all of this out. I had no clue. But we've done several deals since then, since 85, that has never been addressed.
Well,
And he said if we don't do it, if he don't do it, then he's going to have to come back and find out why these other subdivisions have not been brought to court.
Is it our I don't think it falls on us to divide, to bring the subdivisions toward it. What's the law say, you know?
The developer is responsible for
Getting this done.
complying with the applicable rules and regulations.
And it's only if they build a road into it and sell off either side.
Well, yeah, there's other things that trigger it, but the subdivision ordinance, I mean, if you have a place on a county road and you're
Off of the county road. you don't
every
have to.
place has an entrance on a county road, that doesn't fall within our 1985 subdivision ordinance.
1985.
But if you build a road to give access to some interior lots, or if you dedicate a park, or there's a list of about a half dozen
Yeah,
things.
there's
If you
several.
do, then that becomes a subdivision under the terms of that ordinance. It requires filing a plat, a proposed plat with a whole bunch of requirements. And the clerk's office requires action by commissioner's court to approve or disapprove that plat. And then it's filed in the deed records of the county. That's what the county ordinance is. I've talked to the guy. I think after he talked to you, he talked to Commissioner Guerin. Commissioner Guerin he said what he knew and said you might ought to check with the county judge.
That's exactly what I
And
told
he
you.
called me and I explained it to him. And he said, would you send me a copy? And I said, I'd be glad to. And I sent it to him and I hadn't heard from him since.
I heard from him last night about
Okay.
7, 8 o'clock.
So he was going to, when he told it, he was going to take a look at it. And I told him, I'm talking from memory now. It's an 85 ordinance. I think
It is an
it's a
85
thing, and
ordinance.
here it is.
Yeah.
So I would say, I mean, it's been on my to-do list for 2 years now, but I'd like to redo that 1985 ordinance because
needs to.
obviously it's dated. Now, that's going to be a big deal. I mean, because everybody's got an opinion, and it might take us the better part of 6 months to do it. I mean, we need to have public hearings. I just as soon have form a committee, including some landowners, and let them work on it and come back with a proposal for us. But right now, I mean, more immediate goals besides COVID is, and we got the budget done, we got the taxes done. Let's deal with our tax abatement issue, and then maybe start in January after the holidays.
Well,
try
I
and
can tell
redo
you
that
this
ordinance.
guy has turned it over to his lawyers.
That's fine.
And I understand his business, but he's wanting to get the ball rolling on this deal. And I understand it. And he said, I know, and I know the guy that done it. Said, oh, it's no issue in Mills County.
Well,
This subdivision, 1985, was probably put in place in this county because the woody land south of town. in my
That's
precinct,
where it was.
That's what that started all that. I'm guessing.
did that start out as a private road in the middle of it?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that place and then private place on 317, that's the same issue there, and that's when that subdivision came into place. But that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, if
Yeah,
y'all
do
would
you want
like,
to
let's put it on the
Jed
agenda.
wants to speak.
Okay, I'm sorry.
If y'all will recall, what's it been, 3 years ago or more? Judge Phelps was gonna get the surveyor from Brown County, which is, I don't understand that. And him and Gerald Hale were gonna ride up.
We
And
can-
get subdivision approved. They never did.
It never-
That's the thing with that. His excuse for a long time was we didn't have any subdivision approved. Somebody finally went and looked in the clerk's office, and they've been on file since 85.
There's
I'll
also,
remember that for sure.
I think Gerald's one that, like I say, recommended using the survey from Brown County because it's new.
I mean, but they never did. This way.
Okay. Well, I've written a draft. I have a draft subdivision ordinance ready to discuss.
That gentleman called me, Robert, before I gave him your phone. He never said anything about building a roading and all he
Well,
asked me was.
It's come down to a road in it.
All he asked me
But-
was, what's the county policy on Tin Horn
There's a,
going in? And
Yeah.
I said, you buy them, we'll install.
he also said last night he would not, that road would not come through Mills County.
That's what he told me.
And it's gonna come off of County Road 242. It's gonna be, he'll have lots going off of it. And that's the only one that will, interfere with Mills County. He said, I will make sure we don't come because Hamilton County has not got any kind of restrictions. He sold 4 or 5 big places in Hamilton County and cut them up like that. So,
Hamilton County's working on
I
that.
did.
yeah, now they are.
On closer, they say they can't.
Dickie Clary been talking with Jim Allison about
Jed, lean up to the microphone, please.
how would they come in there and clear it off a bunch of that cedar and cut it up to 10-acre tracts.
Are we having trouble with the microphone, Sonia?
We just can't hear Jed. He's not, he needs to lean into the microphone.
Okay. Let's, we didn't even list this, so it's good that you brought it up.
It
I
needs
will-
to be on the agenda, and
I will
put it
list,
on the
I will
agenda.
list it for discussion in our next meeting.
Good.
If you like, I'll be glad to share a draft of what I've got, but it's really not ready for prime time, but it is
Yeah.
in process. And I agree with everybody. But it's going to be I think it's going to dwarf the wind farm discussions as the type of issues that come up as we go through this. But so it's going to be a long involved process.
Only thing I was gonna mention is, they come back with a, swinging bridge notice on us and said that we could open the swinging bridge if we guaranteed nobody could drive over it over 8,000 pounds.
So you're going to put a weight limit sign up?
There's already weight limit signs and we still can't guarantee it, so the road is still closed.
Are you gonna put cameras up to find these people that's
If
driving?
we
over
open it, we'd have to, but we'd have to get both sheriff's departments from San Saba and Mills County to follow up on that. So, I was not having any representation from the sheriff's department here.
Well, as commissioner, it's not your responsibility to enforce it. For us, we maintain the road. The law enforcement has to enforce it.
TxDOT's opinion is if we can't guarantee it, don't open it. So it ain't open.
I don't blame you.
Just give them a report.
We just can put, never mind. Okay. I've talked enough. I don't have anything further to say. So
Make a motion, we adjourn.
we have a motion. We have 2 motions to adjourn. Do we have a second? Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thanks, Mr. Pritchard. Have a good day.